Today's video we're going to rebuild the manual valve. A little bit easier than the electric valve. There's no wires to cut and connect and then test. So we're going to do it without having to cut this out. I'll show you how to completely disassemble this, disassemble the one that's in the yard, and then put it back together and then verify and test. And I'll show you, it has the same symptoms as the electric valve. When you shut this down, there's a gasket inside there, and it's plastic. It's a rubber gasket with plastic thread inside there, and that'll break and fall apart, and it won't shut and let the water shut off all the way. Then it will cause the water to purge out of the heads, just like the diaphragm inside the electric valve. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me grab you here. We'll bring over a couple pairs of channel locks. Are really good to use. I'll show you over here. Here's the problem. Just like any other sprinkler head, the water's purging, or any other valve rather, the water purges out of the sprinkler head that's sitting right there, and it's purging out of this sprinkler head right down there as well, and it's slowly starting to do it to the other ones on that same zone. So here's the valve here. I've already got the water shut off by this handle here, and see, it won't shut off completely, so it allows the water to just purge through. See, and this one is just broke to a point where it won't shut off at all. With the handle turned all the way down, that system is still running. So then what we do in that event, shut it off here, and take the channel locks, and there's a float assembly down underneath here. I'm going to be really careful with this. You don't want to break it off of these pipes. I mean, if that does happen, obviously it can be fixed. But our real problem is inside here. And see how all the parts have just completely, the rubber gasket is just completely fallen apart. And this is what stops the water from going to the sprinkler heads. So I'm just going to open this up, and we'll flush out any of the parts that might have fallen down inside there. Okay, now the new one. I always find that it's easier just to buy the whole complete valve. In some cases, if you wanted to, you could put 2 male adapters in here with Teflon tape. You could cut and glue that back on. Either way is fine. So we'll take this guy off. And I like to replace the whole thing. When you buy the whole unit, just put a new float in it, because you don't know if this gasket's going to be any good and if that float's any good. And I'll show you the difference in here. And this is just like a faucet for your sink, you know, whether it be in your bathroom. Your hose bib has the same principle. It's got a gasket in there, metal bushing. The metal washer holds it on with the rubber bushing, and that rubber bushing sits against there, stops the water. Just gotta clean my hands off. That stops the water from going further through. Use the bigger ones. You don't need to over tighten these. You just want to kind of snug them. When you over tighten them, you can do more damage than good. And so now we should be able to shut that down. I can leave that off because now the water is going to not come through. See, with the water on now, there's no water coming through there. It's shutting off. And here, we'll put that on. Just want to make sure that that float, I'll show you that real quick. That rubber gasket goes inside there. I want to make sure that this float doesn't just drop out. So just make sure it stays in there, drop it down in there. Give it a turn. If that thing's not in there, the water, when you turn it on, it will come out of the float and not go to the sprinkler heads. So now when we turn it on, now the sprinkler heads are on, and now we can turn the handle down, and now you can hear the water shut off, and there you go. So that's how the easiest, quickest way, no glue, one pair of channel locks. Water goes in through this side, comes out, goes into the float. The float works as your anti-siphon part. So there you have it. That is rebuilding a Richdale manual valve without having to use any pipe cutters, glue, or anything. Just a pair of channel locks. You don't need to put Teflon tape around there. These are made from the factory, threaded, so they'll self-seal. This one, as you saw, had a bushing on it, a gasket underneath here, and this is self-sealing in itself, so there's no problem. No Teflon tape required whatsoever. See, there's a gasket inside there as well, and that's all done from the factory, and that just lays around there, and that seals it itself. Kind of like a Union, a gasket that you'd find inside a Union. So that's it. That's the quickest, easiest way to rebuild a manual valve Richdale, and then that will take care of your problem when your water is leaking through. This will take some time to clear up. You can see the sprinkler head right there. There's no more water moving down inside there. It'll slowly just purge out of that sprinkler head. So there you have it. Easiest, quickest way to rebuild an Irritrol or Richdale. It's actually a Richdale valve owned by Irritrol now. Easiest way to rebuild it without pipe cutters, glue, you know, and the whole shebang. Just in and out. Have a great day.